Hey guys, Baron here with Castles, and welcome to the channel. Up today we have a very special Colt 1911 government model made in 1914. But this is not any Colt made in 1914. This comes from a very special and very small serial block range that we're going to get to in just a minute. A couple things I want to say up front. I apologize, this is not a shooting video, but this gun is extremely rare. It's all correct, and I'm not going to go put a bunch of rounds through it. On top of that, it's raining today, and this is going to Tulsa with me, so this may be the last chance I have to document this firearm for you. So, with that, what makes this so special? In 1914, Argentina decided to adopt the Colt Model 1911. This gun was made in 1914, making it a first contract gun. What's significant about that? There's all kinds of Colt Argentinian 1911s. What makes it so special is that the first contract only had 321 guns in it. In addition to that, this contract was not sent down to Argentina. Argentina was in the United States to pick up battleships. I believe the Dreadnought class, which is a pretty badass battleship. They made their way on over to Colt, picked these up, and then just took them directly to their ships. Pretty freaking cool. And with that, they're going to be stamped a little bit differently than some of the later contract guns. Let's go ahead and take a closer look at it, and then we'll pull it apart and go into some more detail on it. First off, this is not where I normally film. I'm kind of trying something new, so the light's a little weird. I apologize, but it should come through for you. And on this side, we've got our Colt government model C prefix 6268. Now, with serial numbers on these, pretty easy to tell if you have a first contract. One, obviously, you have this big billboard that says Marina Argentina. But two, back to the serial numbers. So the first contract was in two small blocks. The first block ran from serial number C6201 to C6400. Then we have a break in the serial numbers, and we're going to run from C11501 all the way to C11621, making it a total of 321 guns. A very small contract number. This particular one, as you can see, is C6268. Pretty neat. Another thing to note, too, if you're kind of new to 1911s, or at least the older ones, caliber back then, that's not just because it went to Argentina. That's just how it was back then. They spelled it calibre, 45. So kind of neat there, the more you know, right? So with that, let's go ahead and take it apart. I do want to mention, there are two ways to really take a 1911 apart. But for the sake of the video, we're going to do it the military way because this is a military gun. Now, first up, we see a two-tone magazine. That is correct for this era of gun. This magazine does not have any markings on it, but we know it's right because it's two-tone. At this point, we're going to go ahead and make sure that the firearm is clear. So, taking it apart. The military way, you're going to put the safety on, at which point you're going to push down on your plunger and then rotate your barrel bushing. This guy's going to come out. All right, from here, we're going to disengage our safety. Pull this back to here. Out we go. I know people with OCD right now are probably freaking out because I'm not keeping the gun parts in any kind of real order. There. Rotate this guy here. Goes our bushing. There we go, OCD people, although it's not center frame. I tried. Okay, now that we have the gun apart, let's take a closer look at some of these markings because the first contract guns have kind of a specific proof mark to them. So with that, now that I don't have the whole thing assembled to fight around the camera, there's our C6268. Remember that number, it's going to come in handy in a minute. On the top, we have the first of our proof marks in front of the disconnector. Now, it looks like a P, if you can see that, and I'll probably roll in an actual picture of this, but it is an RA, Romeo Alpha. That's how proof marks were back then. Even Winchester did something kind of weird with the way their logo was done. I digress. To the right of that, we have a 2. Behind it, we have a diamond. And then here we have another marking, which I really can't make out, even with a magnifying glass, but it's there. This is all pretty standard stuff. No markings on these. Now the barrel is marked 268. Remember? So remember the serial number on the frame? 268, 268. Look at that. They match. That is extremely uncommon in military surplus 1911s. Furthermore, check out the bore on this. That is freaking excellent for a 111-year-old handgun, particularly one that saw sea service. Then our slide. We have another proof marking right here above the firing pin retaining plate. Kind of hard to make out. I'll roll in a still. And on this side, we have our Colt automatic and Marina Argentina. To my knowledge, there are no other markings on this gun. However, I am not a big Argentinian collector. All right, so let's go ahead and throw this thing back together, and I'll tell you a little bit about how I came across the gun. So this would have been 11 years ago or so, maybe a little bit longer than that. I was after a Colt early commercial gun. Super bad. I think I had just turned 21, so yeah, it'd be 11 years ago. And I found one at a gun shop, but the price was just like, man, that's a lot of money. And I kind of thought about it. I actually started to head home, and I decided, you know what? I'll just buy it. I'll deal with the consequences later. Turn around to go get it. The gun is gone. And ever since then, I have been on the search for one locally all this time. I don't like buying online if I can help it, unless there's a video that really shows it. Hadn't seen any, so lo and behold, almost 2 years ago when I decided to buy this existing gun shop that I now own, this came in the door, and I asked the consignee what they wanted for it. They shot me a price, and on the surface, again, I know very little about Colts outside of just the big broad brush strokes on Colt history, and I know even less about Argentinian guns. However, I have been learning quite a bit since I picked this one up. But moral of the story, you don't always have to be informed when you're buying a gun. Sometimes if you just like it, buy it. It's as simple as that. And the nice thing with these old guns is that occasionally you may get one that has a really interesting history, or that may wind up being an extremely rare gun. And in the case of this one specifically, it took me a couple of months, really almost 6 or 7 months, to find out any real information on what I had. And the fascinating part about that is there was a lot of fun in just the hunt for the information. Something you don't get in a modern gun. Another thing you don't get in a modern gun, unless you're going to spend like $8 grand on a 1911, is the attention to detail. And this checkering is just amazing. Look at the grips. They're 111 years old. Absolutely beautiful. And while the finish isn't the best on this particular gun, I still think it looks great for its age. So another really cool thing with this is I actually picked up this holster almost exactly a year after I bought this gun, and this is the correct holster for an Argentinian 1911. It's a simple flap holster. This opens up, and unlike a US holster, we have a magazine pouch on the inside flap. And unlike most European holsters, it holds 2 magazines plus the gun. The only marking that's in here, I really can't make out, but it's right there. If you know, please put it down in the comments, because I'd be interested in learning. And it just closes up as such. And then on the back, we kind of have a unique situation going on. So you have a standard belt loop, but then you have these 2 brass studs, and that's for a leather strap that would be worn crossbody over your shoulder, most likely in conjunction with this. So guys, sorry for the long form video without shooting. Kind of boring probably, but what I wanted to do was to document this before it leaves my collection potentially, because there's just not much resource information out there. If anything else, maybe this can just be a good reference for some of the markings and things to look for. So guys, I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. Thank you for following and liking and all that good stuff. We'll see you in the next one, and as always, stay free.